Hi, my name is Dave Holmes. And I served in the United States Army in 1964, 66. And I'm glad to say it was an experience. I learned a lot. Glad to have been in the service. I let's see. And I felt good about going. It was a time when a lot of people were being drafted, and I was drafted and was ready to go. So I had a good time in the service from beginning to end. So, and now my primary duties were, I'll jump ahead, the main thing that I did was drive a truck in Vietnam for a variety of tasks, loads of food, for example, from the coast to different companies. I was stationed in Pleiku, the Central Highlands there, Vietnam. So I drove a truck and pulled a low bed. So along with military supplies and food, as I said, I would bring that to the different bases along the way. In fact, and I also would bring in armament. For example, one of the main things I did with my low bed was go to the coast again in Quy Nhon and get a load of gun barrels for these huge guns. And I would take a load of 3 guns. They're very long, longer than the low bed, but heavy. So I could load 3, was the heaviest I could go, and take them through the Central Highlands and on to near the Cambodian border. I want to say that to Dak Tao was the name of the base, and this was quite a base where these not only the guns that I were taking were being used to shoot over the border. As near as I could tell, they would do that to keep. It was done to try to cut down any, I'd say, of the enemy coming over the border. So I would then, speaking of my duties, take a load of 3 gun barrels that had been used, ready to go back to be overhauled so they can be used again. And I would take them back to Quy Nhon so they could go to, happen to be the California coast, to be refurbished. So some other things I did was drive a smaller truck and would I was involved in a lot of trips in a convoy, and when I had my heavy loads, gun barrels being heavy, why I would set the speed pace, which was fine with me, as fast as I could go safely through the jungle. There were roads, and military police 3/4 ton was in front of us, always leads the convoy. So that's one of the things I did several times, and had trouble sometimes with keeping the load on the road and so forth, but I never had any bad problem doing that, and had thank God, a safe career doing that. But we would sometimes get stopped in a convoy. Now, I don't know it, but we're going, all of a sudden we get the word from the MPs up front, and so I stop. Everybody stops because they were attacked somewhere near the back of the convoy. as they went by. So that was an experience to sit there in the jungle and just take care of mine. So I had other duties. For a short time, I was part of a crew of the tank retriever. It was a huge tank in itself, ran on tracks, but the M80 was a huge machine, really, and it could actually pick up abandoned equipment, everything, and then take it back to the base to either be sent back to the world. That's what we called our homes, the world. And so that gave me something different to carry and so forth. That was fun for me, I'm glad to say, because when we're on the road, everybody clears the way. And where I was stationed in Pleiku, it was probably midway from the coast of Cambodia, Central Highlands. There were many native people that worked with us in the mess hall, and all kinds of tasks at the base, laundry and many different tasks that somebody needs to do. And we got acquainted with them, and we were always careful. And we get friendly with them, but that's all, and they learn our names, and we learned some things from them. So that was a good experience. We lived in tents on the base, and we could go down to town too, and that was a nice privilege, and buy some things from the native vendors. They got their little stores. They're also tents. So that was a nice experience that I had with the population there. So, I talk about some memories that I have. Before I went overseas, I got a second training as let me think here, the military police. I went to military police school, so that was my second training. So it was just in case. But then I was a little worried, I have to admit. Went next from Arizona to overseas, but they put me in recovery, with my low bed, and said not in military police. Could have, and I would have, but it was like a second MO is what it was called, just in case. So there were casualties. My good friend, he did hit a mine, but in another convoy. But he was limping for quite a while, but he got well. It was not enough for him to go home, and he didn't want to go home. He was a soldier. I remember him that I'll get this, okay. But he did. So that was interesting, because wow, and he'd explain what in the world happened, just like that. So you guys be careful. But